JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Wednesday, May 14th, 8:57 a.m. Talk really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P futures slightly in the green. A mixed open. You got the NASDAQ and S&P up about 0.2%. And this is on the heels of Monday's massive rally and Tuesday's, I would call it continuation. Markets opened in the green yesterday, hit highs in the mid-afternoon, and then there was a late session pullback from the 589 handle all the way down to 586.84 close. Would love to get my bullhorns on and say new all-time highs are coming. I mean, we're not that far away. But for now, I think some consolidation is in order. I talked about the key areas on the spot. I thought 590 was a key spot. We came all the way up to 589. I was talking about the upper Bollinger Band, which is 589.80. Well, now it's 588.86. It was 588.89.08 yesterday. So those are kind of like some key spots, but some good historicals. And I think this was in Market Watch. Maybe it was Market Watch this morning. But it shows the amount of times the S&P has traded down 15% over the course of a year, the performance for the rest of the year. And I don't know how many N equals maybe 14 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So of the past 16 instances this has happened, only 3 times the market has went back into the green, and those 3 times the average gain, well, the minimum gain was over nearly 15%. So if history is any indicator, and I like to look at some of these historicals, one of my favorite things to look at, because a lot of times, history is a pretty good indicator of past performance, pretty good indicator of future performance, right? Not all the time. So certainly, if you're looking at historical wise, if we continue to hold green and the S&P went flat yesterday, I probably bodes well for some outsized performance into the end of the year. So anyway, so you take a look at the SPY, that 589 area. We'll watch again today, all the way up to 589 twice this morning in the pre-market. And there's not much in the way of catalyst. Tomorrow we get Walmart earnings, Baba, John Deere. After the close today, I think it's Cisco, CoreWeave. Outside of that, it's just gonna be kind of like headline driven, and it's like all the headlines that the big headlines, which would be China, is kind of in the in the rearview mirror for now. And now it's okay. What is Canada and Mexico? At some point, there's got to be talks. You got the Vietnam, Southeast Asia, the Eurozone. So all big areas that need to get some deals. But it's funny, still you read the headlines, and it's still folks who think that this is like a relief bounce, right? That higher inflation's coming. The baseline for tariffs is going to raise prices, and all the fear headlines are still out there, right? And there's at the peak fear, they thought more lows were coming, and they still think it's so. I don't know what's going to change their mind. I mean, there's still risks. There's always risks with the market, right? There can be a geopolitical event. We already have tensions with Pakistan, right? Pakistan and India, big issues there. I mean, you still have Ukraine and Russia. It seems like the market continues to climb the wall of worry. I mean, it seems like eons ago we had DeepSeek. I mean, holy smokes, that was the next catalyst. Oh, AI's over. AI's over. All these companies are done. And look at Nvidia today. So it's funny if you just listen in the moment on all the fear and don't look out to possibilities and be open to scenarios, then you're gonna be in puts, or you're gonna be out of the market the whole time. So all right, rants for other days. But to me, honestly, I would love to see some chop and consolidation here today, and maybe into the end of the week. Maybe the 590 handle, we'll see how it performs. If we break over 590, then I might rethink the bull market, and maybe new all-time highs come next week. If not, probably going to take some time. And then we want to see some headlines come out that at least some deals continue to get ratcheted back. Supposedly when Trump comes back from the Middle East, he has more deals to announce. All right, so that's kind of overall market. Just quick on some individual names. This week has been a week of unfortunately missing some of the names. So missing the RH, the W, and the deck on Monday. Missing the first solar trade. I mean, epic trade. I mean, if the 170s were less than $1, so 30 bags in a matter of two sessions. So hopefully there's always opportunities, right? And if you sit there and try and chase moves, you typically then you got to just prepare for them, right? Luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So you got to prepare, take advantage of opportunities, and then the luck part of it is when you have these big moves. So hopefully they're always opportunities. They'll continue to happen. Just if you try and force trades, be more aggressive based on previous moves, and try and chase things that they typically don't happen, right? All right, so now individual names. ROKU is up here near $72. Got to break that 200-day moving average. Hopefully it happens today. up another nearly 4% yesterday. Surprising enough, the premiums haven't really rallied in tandem with it. So hopefully today's the day that the premiums start to rise or rise more. I can lock some of my calls out to cover costs for 100%, ride the rest. But really like this setup. Uh, then this morning with First Solar going bonkers and the tax bill not being possibly not as worst case scenario or worse is feared for the solar sector and green energy. I looked at Solar Edge. I'm like, wow, it's not rallying as much with First Solar. Not that it's an apples for apples comparison, but it's the same sector. And then thought maybe it's got the 33% plus short interest. I thought there'd be some follow through on a break over $20. And then sure enough, opens green, rallies for a bit in the early morning, and then just sold off. Still like this one for a squeeze 2.0. It's had some great moves back at the start of the year, back at the end of November, back in October. I think the next leg for the squeeze is going to come. I think it's 22 and change is the big spot. So if it breaks that, I think it's off to races. New highs there in test 30. Still like the Biogen setup, taking a breather yesterday, down 1%. Funny enough, Regeneron got upgraded this morning. So I was looking at that one, but the spreads are tough. The 605, 610s were over $1, even with the stock down at 560s yesterday. So maybe today I'll take a look at Regeneron, but still like Biogen for move over 130. Find some strength today. Take a look at the 50-day moving average. That's at 129. Might look to get those. GameStop finally, after a month of teasing, it finally had the golden cross yesterday. So now you take a look at the 50-day moving average is 25.16. It crossed over the 200-day. I mean, it's 4 straight days to the upside, but really want to see that 30 break. I'm just surprised there's been no news or update from Ryan Cohn. You would think he'd be a little more aggressive, right? Timely. Once they announced that offering, you would think they would have immediately. I mean, who it usually closes right away once they announce the deal and it closes. So I don't. Maybe the deal didn't officially close. So hopefully there'll be some news there on GameStop. Other names, Walmart reports earnings tomorrow before the open. I was hoping to get the spec calls and then be able to lock some in to cover costs and ride the rest. Didn't get that opportunity, so I'll just hold those into earnings tomorrow. 102 is the gap fill from back in middle of February. If it gets over that, I think it's off the race. I think they have a great report. And then some other names here, DELL, which is one of my favorites back in the spring of last year. Maybe finally ready to go. It was right at its 50-day this morning. Let's see. 200-day, 109. Yeah, it's 109.27. The 200-day moving average is 109.36. It gets over that. And, the backdrop of all this stuff, right? The deals in Saudi Arabia supposedly unleash a new pent-up demand for AI. I don't know what that is, but that seems like some of the reason why you see NVIDIA, AMD soaring this morning. So considering all the other names moving, even Supermicro, right? It was up 17% this morning. You would think Dell would be up more than $1 this morning, but it's not. So I don't know if that move is going to come right at the open, but if it shows some strength, maybe gets over 110 at the open, I might look for some spec lottos there. Still eyeing RH, DEC, W as well. Those consolidated yesterday, so maybe those have some continuation rallies into the end of the week. And then last but not least is Reddit, and it's almost like it was a waste of energy to watch it last week. Looked like it was going to break out yesterday. It had a big spike midday all the way up to 115, then gave it back into the close, sitting here at 114. Only a matter of time before that one takes off, in my opinion. And that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.